Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Gym Owners Fitness Business Podcast, which is proudly supported by MyZone, Oz Active, and Fitness On Demand. Super excited today because I've got the wonderful David Atchison on my podcast, and he is the CEO of BodyFit Training. Now, everybody knows about BodyFit Training, but let's talk about David to start with. So David has 25 years experience in the industry. So congratulations, David, on that. And he's had 18 years in senior and executive management positions. And throughout COVID, he was a leader as a leader at Fitness First and at Good Life. And he took the team right through with positive results at the end. And then in July 2022, David joined the BodyFit training team. So congratulations on that, David.
Thanks, Mel. It's been nearly 12 months now.
Yeah, I know, but hasn't it gone super quick? It has. So, David, the first question I want to ask you today is, what prompted you to join BodyFit?
I got started with BodyFit training. I guess I'd been watching the brand for a period of time, obviously in previous roles, and thought that it was a pretty exciting product. I went and tried a class myself, going back about a year and a half, and I was really impressed with what was happening, the experience I had within the four walls. I'd known a little bit about it, but not in depth. I was obviously training in my own facilities. And that made me really curious, and I thought, this is incredible what Cam Falloon's created, what he and Rich have been able to roll out. So that was where the interest, I guess, started. Just love the workout and the variety that it gave. So really enjoyed that, and then conversation just sort of started with the guys from that time.
So you have to agree, when you're passionate about something, it's very easy to jump on board and go, hey, I want to be part of this brand. And obviously you're passionate about the workouts.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, as you mentioned, I've been in the fitness industry for a long time. So I'm absolutely passionate about fitness and what we as an industry create and really change the life. That's why everyone's in the industry. We love changing people's lives, and we know they're better for it when exercises within their life, both physically and mentally. So that's the driving force. But then when there's a product that really resonates with you and you think that it's got an amazing lifespan, that's where you get really excited every morning when you get out of bed.
You sort of beat the alarm clock to jumping out of bed when you're passionate about it. So, David, it's been a really exciting 12 months for the BFT team. I mean, you've launched in the USA. You're about to launch in Hong Kong, which is incredible. So, and you've formed a partnership with Hyrox. So, I remember a couple of years back when I was in the US, I was lucky enough to attend a Hyrox session. And if you don't know what Hyrox is, guys, you have to Google them, and then you've got to go out and join your local BFT and be part of Hyrox, because it is an incredible workout. You can get a group of friends together to create teams, and it just creates a great big bonding. But I did love watching the sessions, and hopefully one day before I retire, I can be part of the Hyrox journey. But let's talk about Hong Kong to start off with. So now you've already sold 3 territories. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. We've got 3 territories sold, and the first opens only in a couple of months. So that's earmarked for August. So we are pumped. It was a long time in the making. I guess what we're finding now is that we've got partners reaching out to us sort of from all over the globe saying, how can we get involved with BFT? They understand that having that first mover advantage and bringing the brand to a new country is one that they're really excited about. And they know they'll get a big upside. We know all of our first movers, be it in New Zealand, the US, or in Singapore, and of course in Australia and Victoria, all of those first movers are the most successful often within those countries. So that I don't think that'll change in Hong Kong. So The guys there are really excited and they're moving at speed. We really find that our Asian facilities or territory studios, they're able to open really, really quickly. Probably a little bit less red tape when it comes to getting certain permits and things like that around the property side. But we can sell a territory, and really within 6 months we can have that new BFT community up and going, and that's really exciting. So yeah, Hong Kong, couple of months away, and their numbers already are looking really, really strong, which is great.
So you've started the pre-sales in Hong Kong for members?
We have, yeah.
Wow.
So we're up to, I think the guys have got about 100 so far signed, and we're about 6 weeks away. So it's meeting our expectations. Our average opening globally last year was 166. So we'll definitely be well ahead of that in Hong Kong, which is awesome. And I haven't seen it myself, but it's a really unique position in Hong Kong. It's in a high-rise building. I think it's on about sort of level 30, has an amazing view. And we do find that in some Asian countries, they are a different footprint and a different look and feel, say, to what you might see in a suburban Sydney or Queensland BFT. So we're able to be a bit creative with some of the spaces that we're moving into.
So what makes the Asian market different to, say, the Australian market? How is the footprint different?
Oh, the footprint, it's only different in it's a bit more challenging to get the size of facility that we want. So I guess the average, what we call it, the average size would be 220 square metres. And sometimes finding 220 square metres, be it in Singapore or Hong Kong, can be a little more challenging. So they might be 10 to 20 square metres shorter, smaller. So we're just a bit more creative with the space that we use. Sometimes there's some of the amenities might be outside the building or outside the actual facility, and they go down the corridor and use those. But we're able to really accommodate and not lose anything from the BFT experience that you get within the four walls. You might just be a little bit closer to your training partner than you would be in some other facilities. That's probably the only difference.
Okay. So obviously you've got new studios rolling out in Hong Kong. Where else have you got some new studios rolling out? Like, have you hit the UK yet?
Yeah, we opened our in the UK in September last year, which was in Leicester. So that was a really successful opening, again above that 166 opening number there. So that was a good start. We've also opened our second at the start of this year in Battersea, so more in the London proper. They are going exceptionally well. Got a great partnership both with the owners in Leicester and Battersea. So that's the second one. We've got about 5 or 6 other territories sold in London, in the UK, with probably maybe 3 or 4 more open this year. So UK is being a big focus for us at the moment, but we're looking at other territories at the moment. We're pretty structured with our approach to going into new countries. It's not a scattergun approach and let's try and be in all countries as quickly as possible. That's not going to be sustainable, and that's not giving our franchisees who are in there the best support. We've really sort of tiered the countries that we want to be in. We've done a lot of due diligence when it comes to identifying the countries that we want to be in and where we feel BFT will resonate with the communities there. So we've got a really strong roadmap in terms of what we're doing, and that's what Rich and Cam, the owners of BFT, are really focusing on. So I guess they've brought me in to focus on the APAC region with our studios that are already set up, and Cam and Rich are really focusing on those new markets. They're creating the relationships. They're doing all the due diligence with some of the team here at HQ. And then once it gets to an opening or pre-sales stage, that's when it, I guess, gets plumbed into to our team, and then we'll roll it out while the other guys will continue. Cam and Rich will continue to look at either new partnerships or new countries. So at the moment, we've got a sales. We've got about 5 in the sales team around the world. So we've got an Australian and New Zealand focus, of course. But we've got a guy, Mike, who's looking at Asia, and he's leading that up. So we should be sold out of Singapore by the end of this year, which is really exciting. I was there 2 weeks ago, and we had a discovery session there, and that was a full house, and we've been able to sell, I think, 3 or 4 territories just this month alone in Singapore. So that's been really successful. And Mike's now looking at other Asian areas. So Malaysia is a focus for us. So we're speaking with people in Malaysia, and we've got several other countries earmarked, and we're just sort of working through conversations. And for us, it's really important. It's got to work both ways. It's not just about getting a run on the board and getting someone who says they want to open and they've got the financial means to do it. As I said, that first mover advantage, we want to make sure that they're the right fit for us, and having some really successful Singaporean franchisees, we're leaning on some of those, and they're really keen to be the first movers in some of those new countries that we're looking at. And that makes perfect sense for us. They know the brand, they love the brand, and they really want to be the person who's flying the flag for a new country and opening up BFT in those new markets. So our first Malaysian site is a Singaporean current multi-franchisee there who will lead that up, which is really exciting.
So before I go to the next question, how many studios do you have in Singapore roughly?
We've got 30 that are open.
Yeah.
We've got 4 in pre-sales at the moment. We've sold about another 15 that are site searching at the moment, and then we've got, as I said, more territories that are available that should be sold by the end of the year. So Singapore's almost overtaking New Zealand now in terms of the footprint. So that's been that was before my time, but going to Singapore was a masterstroke, I think, from Cam and Rich. Moving there made total sense, and is working really, really well for us.
I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. And this success leads me into the next question, which is the formula of BFT, which is the programming and the fact that it's science-backed. So tell me a little bit about the programming. And I have to ask you this question before you start. Is Cam still writing the programs?
Cam works really closely. I guess the short answer is absolutely. Cam has mentored the programming team and is very much involved with that. So that's great. I know everyone loves the fact to know that Cam's bringing 20 plus years of working with elite athletes in a number of different sporting environments and bringing that science and experience into the programming. And I think that's really our, we talk about being different, better at BFT, and that really is a point of difference, that we've got a genuine, the founder who's spent 20 years working with these elite athletes. And look, seems like a lifetime ago, I was a personal trainer and felt I knew my craft as a personal trainer. Having now seen the secret sauce and the effort and the science and the process that goes into our programming, it's really on the back of all of that experience and how you do train elite athletes. We've got 13 programs within BFT, with a 14th going to be released later on this year, which is, our members will just love the fact that even more variety comes in. But, when Cam founded the business, it was based on three things: that he wanted to ensure that the programming covered all muscle types, all energy systems, and all fascial planes of movement. And that's still core to everything that we do. We test every program before it gets released. So there's a testing team. Our franchisees love the fact that when the programming team knocks on their door to say we're going to be there next week and we're going to test a bunch of programs, that they get to be involved with that.
Yeah.
And the testing is really important to make sure that with our BFT cube that it's giving us the outcomes that we want. And something that still blows my mind is that we have never repeated the same program at all. So over the 5+ years that BFT's been around, every program has been unique and has never been repeated.
Well, that's pretty incredible. And I love the fact that you go out and you get the input from your franchisees, because that in return creates even stronger relationships with HQ when you're going out there and you're getting their opinion, as opposed to they just get up one morning and there's a whole bunch of new programs and they've got to sort it out for themselves. So kudos to you guys for including your franchisees in that. Now, you have a heart rate monitoring system, which is yours and your branding. Do you think that plays a big role in the retention of the members at BFT?
Oh, it's paramount. It's been a game changer for us. As you said, it's a bespoke heart rate technology that no one else is doing what we're doing with BFT Cube. So other heart rate technology really is working on cardiovascular reward and recognition for that, but we're able to do both the cardio and the strength training. We obviously have a huge focus on strength training within our programming, and this enables that gamification and performance to occur. And it's not just for our members. Our members love it. The gamification, where at the end of every program, you just see all of the eyeballs go onto the screen, and the members want to know, we call it our PXI, performance times intensity. And people want to know, have they achieved, they get either a gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal, or a participation medal, and their eyes are on that. And we're ensuring that we're training within that sort of science-backed experience that Cam and the programming team have. So that gamification of the BFT Cube works really well. The other element that we do, not just within the specific session you might have had, there's different status levels as well. And the status levels all link into the data that drives what we feel a stickier member, and the retention and the life cycle. So we know, and we've done this in previous brands, we know where members start to drop off and their visitation starts to drop, and we know at what part of the life cycle that happens. And then we've brought in these new statuses that kick in at about that time, where we might find that a member starts dropping off, to invigorate them, to re-motivate them to come in. What's brilliant about BFT is our visitation is on average 4 visits per member per week. I've worked with many brands, and you've been around a long time, Mel. That's very, very impressive in terms of that. So we know our members are really enjoying the product. So the BFT Cube helps with that, with the status. But the other thing it does is it gives our coaches immediate feedback on how they're coaching. So based on the gold medal or the medal count that we have at the end of every class, we can go into the back end, and a head coach can then assist all of their trainers to see how they've been coaching. And if they haven't been coaching to the methodology that we wanted in that session, where not enough members were hitting the PXI number that they wanted, it may have been that they weren't coaching in the right way, they weren't pushing at the right energy systems at the right time, that we can give that immediate feedback to our coaches. And then our coaches can improve how they're coaching, be it that afternoon in other sessions or moving forward. So we're getting immediate, I guess, a feedback loop for the coaches as well. So that really helps.
So what you're saying is, when you give the feedback to the coaches, is it based on one person lagging in their workout or the group that came in at 5:30 on Monday night?
So we can have a look at 5:30 on Monday night, and we can see what the medal count is for that group. And on average, about 50% or thereabouts of our members are getting a gold medal in a session. We benchmark it, so we share our benchmarking with our franchisees. What's great is we're doing a lot of education on our coaching at the moment, and we can see that the performance within our studio of our members is improving based on that. So we're getting that feedback. So that's where a head coach can help train their coaches. But we look at last year alone, we're looking at circa $4 million data points when it comes to our cube, that BFT cube, that we can use to improve our programming, improve our coaching and the education.
So let me ask you this then, with all of that data that you have, does that help you to timetable classes?
Yeah, the programming team uses a whole lot of data and information with their programming. And I guess going back to the three key elements of our programming, which is the energy systems, the muscle fibers, and the fascial planes, that's another element. So a week might look like a Monday is a lower body strength workout, Tuesday becomes a cardio, Wednesday's an upper body pump, Thursday becomes another cardio, there might be a recovery type balance session in there on a Friday and more of a team workout with an XTX or something like that, which is a bit more of a mixed. So the visitation and the programming allows our members to train multiple times, 5-6 times a week, because of the experience that Cam's had with athletes. Training athletes is not smashing yourself every single day of the week and expecting that their performance is going to improve. I don't for a second call myself a trainer of elite athletes, but I know the physiology that goes into it, where recovery becomes really important. Having rest periods, resting different energy systems and muscle fibers becomes a key part of what the programming team does to make sure that you can wake up the next day and do another session and your body's not smashed, fatigued, and in an injury-prone way or an injury-prone mode that may cause training to stop due to the way the programming's done. So that works really well. And yeah, we use the data for that. We know what our members want to do. We know our best attended classes and putting that variety in. So we're looking at that constantly.
I haven't come across a product yet that does what BFT does. So basically what you do, the reason that you've got 4 visits a week on average is because the member is coming daily. They're not getting bored with the workouts because the workouts are something different. Like I said, they're not waking up in the morning fatigued and feel smashed from the workout. And all of this combined together also reduces obviously the injury rate that you would see across the BFT studios. So hence why you've got such a high retention rate, which is, congratulations on that. That's pretty incredible. And I love that the heart rate monitor and the role that plays in there with status. And then if the consumer does start to decline, obviously you see that in the studio and then you reinvigorate the consumer with something else to get them back in the club. Let's talk about High Rocks. Now, as I said, I was lucky enough to go to the USA prior to COVID and see an event. Explain to me the benefits for your members being involved with High Rocks and also the benefits for BFT as a brand.
Sure. So the High Rocks partnership really kicked off very, very quickly, there was a conversation between Cam and Rich and the founder of Hyrox. His name's Christian. And literally within 10 weeks, a agreement was struck. And both parties will admit that it just felt as though it was a perfect marriage. We're not an events company and don't want to do events and probably wouldn't do them very well. And Hyrox does them amazingly well, but they're not a fitness brand. So that solved both people's problems. We've had feedback from our franchisees for a long time to say we would love to bring that competition into the BFT world. So Hyrox allows us to do it, and it gives our members some purpose also with their training. You talk about the retention that we've got within our member base. The BFT Cube's one part of that. The other part, just to sort of go back to it, I think it's the community as well that our franchisees are able to create. Also leads to that. The 8-week challenges that we do leads to that. And this Hyrox partnership will definitely lead to that. So we're the official training partner with Hyrox in APAC, so Australia, New Zealand, Singapore. There's events this year in Sydney and Melbourne in August, and in Singapore and Hong Kong this year. So there's some great events coming, and we're now incorporating Hyrox style training into our weekly training. So be that sled pulls, sled pushes, we've now got wall balls that have been introduced. So we're bringing new product and new movements into the BFT world. So that variety is something that our members are now experiencing, where we're bringing some new training elements in. So they're loving that. And we've now got, in a sort of a 10-week lead up to a Hyrox event, we do Sunday Hyrox training sessions for any of our members who have enrolled into a Hyrox event. I know the Hyrox teams they're absolutely over the moon with how their enrolments have been in the two Sydney and Melbourne events. I think Melbourne's about 90% sold out, and they've never had, my understanding is they've never had an initial event in a new city with so many enrolments. So I think that's something that BFT's brought to the party. I think going further on, knowing how big Hyrox is going to be when it gets momentum and more people hear about it, our members are absolutely going to
Yep, you're still there, David.
we're definitely going to see new members coming into our BFT studios who are hearing about Hyrox and saying, well, how do I train for a Hyrox event? Well, BFT is the answer for that. That's in our programming, and that becomes a really good lead generator for our franchisees.
Yeah, I've seen we've got 2 BFT studios here in Ballarat, and the guys have been advertising the Hyrox, and probably one of my regrets is not opening up a BFT studio. But hey, you never know what.
Never too late, Mel. Never too late.
I know. People always say never, Mel. So I love the brand. I remember when Cam was launching around about the same time that I was launching this podcast, and he jumped on to launch the BFT brand. And it's just been phenomenal to watch it grow and to watch him grow as as an entrepreneur, and his success is incredible. And I believe that his passion, not just him, but Rich too, his passion and the desire for people to have success within their own health and fitness journey is the reason why the brand is so successful, which has attracted some big names also to it. So just before we close off, can we just tell our audience some of those names that have become BFT franchisees?
Yeah, we've got franchisees, but we've got some elite athletes, be that Australian cricketers, AFL players, elite sports people. And I think they're really drawn to they're drawn to the product knowing that they can take the experience they've had as elite athletes and bring that into their community that they're wanting to create, because they know that it is a genuine sort of strength conditioning, elite training environment, and they really thrive in those sorts of environments. So yeah, we've got some really high profile people that are involved, but that isn't a core element. You don't have to be an elite athlete to be a franchisee. We've got some people from outside the industry who see it as a really good investment, and they're really being drawn to BFT also.
So if somebody was interested in becoming a BFT studio, can you give us just briefly, what do they need to have in place before they pick up the phone and give you a call?
They can have a number of things in place. I think they want to have a passion for creating an amazing community where training people in an elite training environment is something that gets them out of bed every day. They've got to be excited about being involved with BFT and creating that community. That's probably one part, but the second part is it might be people who don't necessarily want to be hands-on, but they want to have a really good return on investment, and they'll put a studio manager in and a head coach in, and they'll just see it as a passive revenue stream. It's really a turnkey solution. It's been proven 250 plus times, and we keep on getting better and making iterations and changes and improvements. So they're able to tap into that, and I guess we can hold their hand and help them have that success that they're looking for. But anyone who wants to get involved with BFT, just go to bodyfittraining.com and choose the country that you're interested in, and our sales team will take you through the journey.
It sounds incredible. We've spoken about Hong Kong, we've spoken about Hyrox, we've spoken about the data and the success and the science behind the model. Is there anything that we haven't spoken about, David, that you want to share with the audience today?
I think we've covered most things. Yeah, I think we've got it all, Mel. Hopefully I've articulated the passion that I have for BFT, and now being here 12 months, I feel really blessed and humbled to be a part of BFT and to be the APAC CEO. No, it's a big role to continue to grow the business, but supporting our franchisees and making sure they've got the success that they're wanting, that's our key focus, and supporting them to create those communities and give those member experiences. That's what we do every day.
One final question with a simple yes or no. Will we see wellness come into the BFT product?
Yes.
Thank you. So today, everyone, I've spoken to David from BodyFit Training. The incredible success of that product is unbelievable. I'm a very staunch believer in them, and I wish them nothing but the best of success over the years to come, especially with the Hong Kong rollout and, of course, with Hyrox. Now, David has already told you to jump on board if you're interested in becoming a franchisee or you just want to know a little bit more. So jump onto the BodyFit Training website. And today's podcast was proudly supported by MyZone, Oz Active, and Fitness on Demand. David, thank you for your time, because I know that you're super busy.
Mel, been an
Poor David has frozen a few times through the podcast, but we've had a really great conversation. As I said, guys, jump over to the BFT website, get in touch with David, and I'll drop all of those details in the bottom of the podcast. And again, as I said, we're proudly supported by MyZone, Oz Active, and Fitness on Demand. David, give me the thumbs up that you're back. Perfect. There you go. We love
Thanks
technology.
for having me.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And we will talk really soon.